our belief is that we'll see silver break its old highs of over $50 eventually. Timing of that it's a question anybody's guess. And of course, this is our belief and some speculation there, of course, but nevertheless, it'd be about a year, well, within the last year, roughly, we refreshed all our resource estimates on all our 3 projects, La Negra, Promontorio, and La Siguera.
Jim McDonald, Kootenay Silver. Good afternoon to you. How are you?
I'm great, Andy. How are you?
I'm doing really good. Thank you for coming on the program here. Let's start first. Let's talk about the projects that you have in Mexico. Let's talk about that and lead me through what you have going on.
Yeah, so Kootenay Silver Junior Exploration Company, we're in the business of discovering silver deposits focused in Mexico, and we've made 3 discoveries to date, and we're in the middle of our 4th discovery, in fact, which is called the Columba project. Very exciting new discovery, classic high-grade Mexican vein system. We're getting some just incredible drill results there. The resource size potential is quite large, in excess of 100 million tons on this project, or 100 million ounces of silver, we believe, on this project, as evidenced by the drilling and the geology, the setting that we're in. And the existing deposits we've already discovered all have 43-101 resources on them. And they total over 214 million ounces of silver equivalent in the measured and indicated category, and then another 54.9 million in the inferred. That's the high level, Andy.
Let me ask you just a few points of clarification. Is this 214 million ounces of silver, is that within all of the projects that you have? Is that correct?
That's on 3 projects. So Promontorio, and then another discovery called La Negra, number 2, which is the same project area. And then a 3rd one called La Siguera, which is in the famous Parral district of Mexico. And the 4th discovery we've got underway here, called Columba, doesn't have a resource on it yet. We're still drilling it and drill defining what we've discovered there.
Got it. Okay. Let me ask you about grade. You said it's high grade. What kind of grade are we talking about on the 3 of the projects that you can discuss?
Well, Columba is separate from the 3. So Columba is truly a high-grade vein system. We're getting intercepts there from 300 grams to 6 kilograms per ton in these veins. So different sort of beast than the other projects, which have variable grades in them, depending on which of the 3 you're looking at. But for example, the Promontorio asset's 104 grams silver equivalent, and that's silver, gold, lead, zinc combined. Then the La Negra discovery's basically silver only, a real nice grade for a potential open pit project at 129 grams. Metallurgy looks real simple there as well. So we believe that La Negra project has a lot of potential for a small producer. And then the La Siguera project, which is 51.5 million ounces M&I and about 11.5 in the inferred, is at 102 grams in an open pit constrained resource. So at prices at over $30 like we are now for silver, that project starts to look really interesting. And further, it has a lot of upside potential, being in that famous Parral district of Mexico.
Now, are these all going to be open pit mines? I assume so, but I won't ask that question.
No, the 3 resources that we have now are open pit constrained: Promontorio, La Negra, and La Siguera. But the new Columba discovery, its vein system, it'll be an underground project. That's what we'd be looking at. First, we got to get that resource size up, but that's what we're doing with this exciting new discovery. It's classic vein system in Mexico. They're classic epithermal veins.
Okay. Got it. Now, the first thing, and I'm an investor in several companies that are mining in Mexico, and I know Mexico that has its challenges, if you would. Tell me about the political climate right now. How are you navigating that with the new administration? And yeah, just walk me through that and what's the plan and strategy, how you're dealing with all of that.
Well, so yeah, Mexico is a very interesting country to be exploring, and for a number of reasons. Like my own personal history goes back to the year 2000 with Mexico, and it's got a long, long mining history. It's got a big mining culture. It's got a lot of expertise internally in the country in all aspects of exploration and mining. And so you've got great infrastructure in terms of human infrastructure, existing mines, services, et cetera, in Mexico. And all of this because of the incredible mineral wealth that the country has and discovery potential. So that's one thing. So, so they have very clear rules and regulations in place for a long time. And then they've brought in over a year ago, the mining reform, looking at addressing a number of things. And there's been talk of banning open pit, things like this. And the reform was really centering around tightening up environmental rules and regulations and addressing those things. Yeah, proposed a lot of things. This was with the old administration of AMLO. And now we have a new president who's come in. It's the same party. They in fact have a very large majority in Senate and Congress, so they can do a lot of things that they want to do. And what we're seeing now is how would I say it? I wouldn't say collaboration, but there's a lot of discussion going on with the industry, between industry and government and the new administration now. So you see things shifting to, I would call it a more positive attitude towards the mining industry as opposed to the last president that we had.
Yeah, positive in the sense of just letting regulations, I guess, stamping things or approving things quicker or sooner. Would you say that is positive or?
No, I would say it's positive in that there's a lot of dialogue and listening going on, and some shifting in what's being said on how the reform will end up being written and what will be allowed and what won't be allowed. So we're seeing very positive movement in that way. Still not finished yet, so we still have to wait and see what happens with regard, especially to the open pit ban proposal that was put forth. I mean, there's been some significant change in that in the messaging from the government on that, right from the president herself, in recognizing that how important open pit mining is and how vital it is, and that has to it has to be recognized. So very positive development in that regard.
Yeah, I'm familiar with him, but I wanted to put that out there for our viewers and our listeners. Walk me through permitting process, or where we at in that with you guys. What's the plan on being permitted to mine? Yeah.
So yeah, we're with regards to Columba. This is where we're focused because of the high grade nature and grade. Works in every kind of silver environment. And so that we're really focused on building first of all, a maiden resource there. We're fully permitted for all the drilling that we want to do. We've got really good relations with the regulators in the region. And so there's no sort of question on the permitting requirements at this stage. Now, if we're fortunate enough to get that project to maiden resource and then on to various economic studies that show we've got an economic deposit to build there, then we'll have to proceed with the next steps of permitting, and don't foresee any issues there. Especially being this would be an underground project, and so our experience has been we're focused primarily in the states of Sonora and Chihuahua, the Columba discoveries in Chihuahua. Both these states are big mining states and understand that mining and are favorable towards the mining. So we've always had good experience there.
Yeah, I'm familiar with both. Let me ask you this. Who are your neighbors around you? Yeah, if you can tell me about that.
So we're focusing on Columba. That's where we're spending our money. We're on the northern extension of the famous Sierra Madre trend in northern Chihuahua State. Not any mines immediately close by, but we're on the trend we're on. The closest operating mine would be a small private operation about 30 miles to the north, 50 kilometers to the north of us. Northeast of us is a pretty big, well-known discovery called Cinco de Mayo that Mag Silver made quite a few years ago. Huge CRD, silver lead zinc replacement project that's about 50 kilometers northeast of us. So in the region we're in is a quite prolific trend, although we don't have any operating mines immediately adjacent to us. This is essentially a brand new discovery on what was an old mine historically a long time ago.
So talk to me about infrastructure. I'm assuming, and this is just an assumption, but there's great roads and power is very accessible. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, with regards to Columba, we sit literally a 20-minute drive off paved highway into the heart of the project. And we're in a basin and range country. I mean, you think of sort of north central Nevada, classic broad plains with agriculture in them, and then small mountain ranges in between. That's the setting we're in. And the highway that goes from the capital city of Ciudad de Chihuahua, the capital of the state, up to the United States, passes within in a straight line about what would that be? About 10, 15 kilometers from the middle of the project. So from the airport, we're a 3.5-hour drive right to the heart of the project. Agriculture out in those plains that are surrounding us, and power right to the base of the mountain we're in. So really great infrastructure. Just to the north of us is a small city of about 50,000 people. So you've got all the services that we require at this stage are there. So, I mean, you couldn't really get much better located in this project. Is pretty fortunate about that.
Tell me a little bit about the team here. We want to bet on jockeys, if you would. Tell me about the experience of the team. And also, again, going back to navigating the political climate in Mexico as far as permitting, that sort of thing. Who do you have on the team that deals with that? And then we'll go into share structure.
Yeah, so we've got an office down in Hermosillo, Sonora, and we've had one there for at least 15 years now. Many of our senior staff have been working for us at least for 10 years and some longer, almost 15 years, in fact. Yeah, all Mexican with the exception of one geologist who's Argentine. And so all locally connected. They're on the various mining associations. They are well known in the area, well respected as well. So we have a great presence there. A great relationship built over many years with the different regulators when you're looking to permitting and understanding the processes. Also, equally important, and probably more important, is developing good relationship with the local landowners in the region, people who live in the region. That's one of the very first things we do whenever we enter a new area, is get to know the lay of the land, so to speak, and the people who are there, and if there are any issues or objections, and get them to understand us and respect us. And so we've got a great relationship with the local landowners. We've got access agreements. We've just recently signed an access agreement for the core of the property at Columba for a 24-year agreement that allows for exploration and mining. So really well situated there. Experience generally senior management and board of directors in our company goes right from the grassroots prospecting all the way to mine operations and building mines and financing every one of those steps along the way. Our chairman, Ken Berry, put an open pit mine into production in Arizona about 7 years ago now. And I think that's the most recent open pit gold mine to come into operation in Arizona. Myself, I'm a geologist. I've been in the junior mining side since 1988, putting together different junior deals, the most significant of which became Alamos Gold. And that started when we bought with a junior shell company in December of 2000. We bought the Mulatos deposit from Placer Dome and Kennecott. And then we brought in John McCleskey and Chester Miller to help us finance that in a JV deal with another junior they had called Alamos Minerals. And that eventually became the Mulatos mine about 3 years later, and in the beginning of what is now Alamos Gold. I stepped off that board quite a few years ago in 2012, but that was also my introduction to Mexico and the potential that country has. It was absolutely incredible, some of the projects that you have sitting there underexplored or unexplored, like the case of our Columba discovery, for example.
All right. Let me let's talk about share structure. I want to make sure I got this correct. I read on your website, I believe I got this correct. You have 50,000 shares fully diluted. Is that correct? I'm saying
61 million.
61 million.
You didn't know outstanding, yeah.
Yeah,
There's 21. Pardon me?
that is a very tight share structure. So I congratulate you on that.
Yes, well, it's gone through some history. I got to admit, we founded this company in 2005 as a private venture. And so over a year ago, we had to go through a consolidation finally to tighten that structure up. So it's a really great structure now. And there's about 21.7 million warrants outstanding. And we have a chart in the appendix of our presentation that shows the strike and expiry of those. So they basically ranges from about $1.10 up to $2.20 strike price on those warrants, expiring starting in March of next year until the latest ones being May of 26.
So they'll be expiring soon. And there seems like, correct me if I'm wrong, most of those are significantly out of the money, correct?
Yeah, currently, yes, because we're trading at just under $1.10 today.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that would be correct. We did have a number of warrants come in this fall that were taken down, in fact. So they're just, the majority are just below at being in the money at the moment.
So the next question I'd have is like, I'm going off assumptions, and you don't comment if you can, obviously. It's like when the next raise will be. And the reason I'd say that is because if I'm an investor, let's say tomorrow, I don't want to be diluted, but yet I'm okay with that if I see the plan of moving things forward. So that's my question twofold. If you can comment on that. What's the plan as far as raising, and what's the plan moving forward of getting things hopefully into production over the next few years?
Yeah, so the focus here is on getting ourselves to a maiden resource and advancing that Columba project.
Right.
At the same time, we have prepared our existing resource projects to be advanced quite quickly at the opportune time. And by that, I mean when we get into a more robust silver market and more interest. Silver price is pretty good now. We believe that there's a lot of upside in this silver price, and that we're at the pretty early stages of a silver bull market here, and that famous gold to silver ratio is going to start to close the gap. And when it does, we'll our belief is that we'll see silver break its old highs of over $50 eventually. Timing of that it's a question anybody's guess. And of course, this is our belief and some speculation there, of course, but nevertheless, it'd be about a year. Well, within the last year, roughly, we refreshed all our resource estimates on all our 3 projects: La Negra, Promontorio, and La Siguera. La Siguera, because we knew the old resource model was diluting the grade, and we increased that open pit constrained grade from 85 grams to 102. So it was a real nice bump. And then in the case of Promontorio and La Negra, that second discovery called La Negra that we made had never actually had a resource estimate on it. Interesting history with it. We made that discovery by prospecting, and it excited Pan American, where they did a JV deal with us, where they're going to provide all the capital to move that project into production. They had a plant nearby that was about to close down, and their plan was to bring it up to La Negra if La Negra got to 50 million ounces. Now, didn't get to that size, so they turned the project back after drilling it off. But it's about half that size, really good grade. We think it's a great project for a small operator who could build capital cost, low capital cost. Potential margins there are really good. And so we updated that resource, or put a maiden resource out on that about a year ago, and then updated the Promontorio to bring it into current pricing at the same time. So all of this is just to get those projects ready to move ahead in a stronger market. And we're open to selling them, doing a JV on them, or even perhaps advancing them ourselves. But I mean, as a junior company, you have to be really focused where you're spending money. And that's why we're so focused on Columba. We are finishing up a 20,000 meter drill program here. We've already, prior to this program, we'd already drilled 30,000 meters in various veins, getting intercepts like 34 meters, a half kilo silver, for example, 650 grams per ton over almost 18 meters, some incredible intercepts. Like 1,700 grams per ton over almost 18 meters in one of those holes on what we call a D vein. So we're getting some real high grade, thick zones within this project. So once we finish this program, we were aiming at doing a maiden resource. The zones are still wide open in pretty well all directions here. So we're kind of growing it with almost every drill hole right now. There's a lot. What I'm trying to say is there's a lot more, awful lot more drilling to do here. We're still wide open in extent here. And so we'll get this program finished. When we're done this program, we're going to be pretty decent treasury still, with between 3.5 and 4 million Canadian approximately going into next year. So really well positioned there. Obviously, any large follow-up programs are going to require a new funding to advance that. And certainly, with the results we're getting, it certainly warrants raising that money and advancing the Columba project. No question about it.
Yeah. Okay. Anything that investors or potential investors should be looking for that you can comment on over the next quarter or so?
Yeah, it's basically continue this drill program, and there's lots of results to come out. So just look for that and drilling results.
All right. So, Jim, if people want to invest in your company, how do they find you? And give me where you're traded and your ticker symbols.
Yeah, we're trading on the Toronto Venture, which is KTN, is a symbol. And the website, www.KootenaySilver.com. And then over the counter in the US, the symbol is KOOYF in the US. But most, or the vast majority of the trading, of course, is on that venture exchange.
Yeah, I will put all of this in the show notes below this interview on both the YouTube channel as well as the podcast. Jim, thank you so much for joining me. And yeah, we'll get this out in the world.
Good. Yeah. Thanks, Andy. Appreciate the interview and opportunity. Thanks for that.
You're very welcome. Thank you.